Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and we are back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here for Indy 250 Carb Day. It's the second event of the day. This is Freedom 50 qualifying. We're going to set the starting lineup for tomorrow's prelude to the Indianapolis 250, the Freedom 50 20-lap race for the CSX Indy Light Series. Even though the series itself doesn't run anymore, it's still technically the CSX Indy Light Series from Indianapolis. But we're definitely looking forward to seeing how this all goes down. This is how it will go down for Freedom 50 qualifying. You're going to have 4 groups of drivers. They're going to go out in a group qualifying session, 5 minutes for each group. And the fastest time wins the pole, and the times will be organized from the fastest to the 20th fastest, and that's how to line up for the Freedom 50 tomorrow. Nobody gets limited. All 20 entries into this Freedom 50 will be racing tomorrow at noon Eastern Time on Napa Fam. And in each group, we have 5 drivers, like I mentioned. In this group, the number 5 of Christian Russell, the number 19 of Rayan Durrani, the number 30 of Elijah Gordon, the number 41 of Zachary DiLello, and the number 81 of Zack Winkle. And you can check in the description below to see which drivers are in which group. These guys here taking their time going out into the racetrack for Freedom 50 qualifying. They only have 5 minutes to get out there and get a time in. And so far, of these 5 drivers, none of them have gone out yet. Here comes the 41 machine of Zachary DiLello. He will be the first driver to complete a lap here in Freedom 50 qualifying. Now, you might be wondering, why do we split the groups up and not just have them in one big group qualifying session? Well, we want to discourage drafting. The draft comes into play with these open-wheel machines at Indianapolis, and we definitely want these guys to have a single-car run. But obviously, single-car qualification, those things take a long time, and unfortunately, I just don't have the time to do it for the Freedom 50 as well. I could, but the event isn't big enough for that to be warranted. But with this group qualifying session, where we only have 5 cars on the racetrack, with how big the speedway is, most of the time they can all get out there on their own and not have any cars get in their way for their qualifying time. The thing about Freedom 50 qualifying is, though, they have as many laps as they can possibly run within the 5-minute span, unlike in Indy 250 qualifications where they only get 1 lap. Of course, we did that last weekend. And once again, congratulations to Garrett North for starting on the pole for Sunday's big race, the Indianapolis 250. Here we go, number 41 machine of Zachary DiLello. First driver out on the racetrack. Now, we do not have the miles per hour for this session. We run a completely different graphics package here for the Freedom 50 qualifying session because it is group qualifying, and the fact that they do have multiple times come in for these guys, we keep the leaderboard up for you guys. But we'll have to see what DiLello compares here. Of course, the times are going to be comparable to the Indy cars in Indy 250 qualifications. 41 of Zachary DiLello, 42.054. A little bit slower, but it's not a big difference like it is in real life. And we actually do have a couple of guys drafting with each other right here. Number 30, this is pretty cool to see Elijah Gordon come back. It's been a while since he's raced on Napa Fan, the 2-time Chick-fil-A Cup Series champion. He's been in the Haas IndyCar Series before. I don't know if he's ever won in the Haas IndyCar Series, but by far the most experienced driver in this field. As a matter of fact, we actually have 2 Chick-fil-A Cup Series champions who are going to be racing in this year's Freedom 50. Nathan Baird also an entry to this year's event. But Elijah Gordon, they're drafting with the 19 of Rayan Durrani. Durrani, one of the few drivers who will be in Sunday's Indianapolis 250, who will also be racing in this event. Rayan Durrani and Brandon Nelson as well, racing both events over the weekend here at Indianapolis. There's the number 5 of Christian Russell. He's currently the 4th fastest driver. And the 81 machine of Zack Winkle, like we mentioned, who will be racing in Sunday's Indy 250. Also racing in this event, currently 4th quickest. But the draft definitely comes into play, like I mentioned. And if you get along with somebody, you're going to be relatively fast. And that's what Elijah Gordon and Rayan Durrani are doing right now, helping each other out, get some fast times here in Freedom 50 qualifying. See if either of these guys improve their times. It does not appear that they did. So Gordon still fastest with a 41.735. Rayan Durrani 41.797. Then the 41 machine of Zachary DiLello, 3rd quickest right now at a 41.973. The 81 of Zack Winkle, 42.011, and the 5 of Christian Russell, 42.028. Once the session ends, we will put the times on the right, and you will see the leaderboard and how they compare to the rest of the drivers who will go out in the next 3 groups. The next group will have Nathan Baird, Scott Upton, Alex Lozano, Logan Williams, and Andrew Williams. Brothers there in group number 2. Group number 3 will see Justin Lightning, Angel Olvera, Fisher G, Brad Stover, and Ashlin Boyd. Group number 4, Brandon Nelson, who barely made it into the Indianapolis 250 as an Indy 250 only driver, Keegan Thompson, Richard Kinghart, Ousmaine Hamid, and Landon Smith Jr. Those are the drivers in group number 4, the 20 drivers who will be racing in this year's Freedom 50. I think it's a little bit of a less experienced field this year than it was last year. I mentioned Elijah Gordon being one of the stronger drivers who will be in this year's edition of the race. Guys like Fisher G, Brad Stover, Ashlin Boyd, they've been around a long time. Watch out for those guys. Nathan Baird as well, of course, a past Chick-fil-A Cup Series champion. I think they're going to be some of the stronger drivers in this year's Freedom 50. But Rayan Durrani is also looking strong, and he just posted the fastest time there, so we will get the leaderboard up there in a moment. But here are the official results for Group 1. Rayan Durrani is currently fastest, 41.667. He beat Elijah Gordon's time of 41.735. Zachary DiLello, 41.973. Zack Winkle, 42.011. And Christian Russell, 42.021. Put those up on the leaderboard once we get group number 2 started. Let's go ahead and see how those times compare to the next group here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Group number 2 here, Freedom 50 qualifying. The drivers in this session include the number 7 of Nathan Baird, the number 8 of Scott Upton, the number 22 of Alex Lozano, the number 47 of Logan Williams, and his brother, Andrew Williams, in the number 84. You see the fastest time right now, a 41.667. We'll have to see if that gets broken here in group number 2. Join alongside Marty Zakala now, who will be calling tomorrow's Freedom 50 for us here on Napa Fan. And Marty, it's a fifth of the length of the Indianapolis 250. How do you think tomorrow's Freedom 50 is going to play out at noon Eastern Time?
Well, usually in the Indy 250, when you get to 20 laps to go, that's usually a sprint race. Patience is out the window. You got to go for it if you want to have a chance to win it. In the Freedom 50, these Indy Lights cars are completely different than the Indy cars. This is going to be a sprint race the entire time out, and get ready for some interesting moves on the inside, maybe on the outside. We'll have to see at one of the toughest tracks in the United States.
It's the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, one of the fastest tracks we go to in any open wheel series, and it will definitely be interesting to see how this race plays out. I think it's going to definitely give us a good taste for how the Indianapolis 250 will go on Sunday, and you have one of your drivers in that race, and he qualified pretty well, so we'll have to see how it all goes down for the big one on Sunday. But these guys here, they're focused on tomorrow's 20-lap event. It's a big deal to win in Indianapolis in any series, and the Freedom 50 definitely a huge race to win as the prelude to the Indianapolis 250. First driver out there, number 22, Alex Lozano. This will be Lozano's first career Napa Fan start. And I think Lozano's made a few starts on your end. He's definitely a good driver over in the New Era Cup Series.
Absolutely. Right now, not in the playoffs coming into the Coke 600 weekend, though. However, though, he has shown some success in the higher tier races, those crown jewels. Almost won the Daytona 500 as a rookie. I expect him to be running near the front.
We'll have to see how he can do in his first ever Napa Fan start in the Freedom 50. Number 47, Logan Williams, been driving the Turkey Hill Series this year, and his brother is also going to be driving the number 84, Andrew Williams. This is possibly one of the stronger guys we got in this race. Like I mentioned, Nathan Baird, defending Chick-fil-A Cup Series champion. Going to be his first ever open wheel start. But obviously, a lot of success comes from Chick-fil-A Cup Series over to open wheel and vice versa sometimes as well. And Nathan Baird in the number 7 right now, 41.921. Lozano has a 41.794, which is good enough for third quickest right now here in Freedom 50 qualifying.
Yeah, remember this is only a 5-car group at the moment. Can you give me a breakdown, Byron, since I just joined on how
we got 4 groups, each 5 drivers, and the fastest time they have in their group qualifying session is the time that will stand for their official qualifying time. And the fastest qualifying time starts on the pole all the way down to 20th position. Nobody gets eliminated, so this is the one shot that these guys have to get a time in here during Freedom 50 qualifying here on Friday.
Is Lozano the fastest right now?
He's the fastest in this session. He is third quickest over... Actually, yeah, he's barely third quickest overall. You see the times there on the right of your screen. Elijah Gordon had a 41.735 in the first group. Lozano, 41.736. Lozano is improving his time just a little bit here. Don't think he improved it right there. But
yeah,
Lozano
usually
currently third quickest here in Freedom 50 qualifying.
Yeah, usually when you have the fresher tire, usually those earlier laps are your best laps that you'll run once the car gets a little bit rubbered in with the groove and the worn out tires. You could lose some speed potentially.
Here's Scott Upton in the number 8 machine. It'll be his first ever open wheel start. We'll have to see what he can do. Currently the slowest driver overall here in Freedom 50 qualifying and the slowest driver in the session driving the number 8 machine. Then you got Logan Williams there in the middle. He's currently 5th fastest overall. A little bit difficult to put him on the leaderboard because, you know, normally we do single car qualifications. It's pretty easy. You know, you had the one time, but now we got 5 times, and we got to put those times in with what we already have. So you guys can see all the times, and I can as well, but I still have to think where they all go. 22, Alex Lozano improved his time. He will go to second quickest overall right now, 41.728, and that is without drafting help. Elijah Gordon had some drafting help there with Rayan Durrani in that first group. So Lozano has a very fast race car, and he improved his time just a little bit again. Continues to get faster here at Indianapolis in Freedom 50 qualifying.
I think Lozano knows where his car is good and where it's bad at. Who knows, this could be a pole lap right here, but if he does get a draft, which, you know, I don't think it's going to get a draft. We got 15 seconds left in the session. Don't be surprised if Lozano makes a pole run here.
We'll have to see. Definitely improving his time right here. Of course, these times aren't as fast as what we saw in the Indy cars, but it's within a half a second. So, you know, these Indy Lights guys, they don't go too much slower than the Indy cars do. That always makes it very interesting for these guys. At the stripe, I don't think he improved his time, but still a very good effort out of Alex Lozano, considering he did not have any drafting help. The fastest time still a 41.667, set by Rayan Durrani in the number 19, but Lozano is currently second quickest. Number 7 machine with Nathan Baird, also relatively quick in this session. He'll go to 4th at the end of this one. And that is how it'll end for Freedom 50 qualifying group number 2. Lozano with the fastest time in this session, but he will go second overall. And then it's Nathan Baird, Logan Williams, Andrew Williams, and Scott Upton with their times. We're going to pop them onto the leaderboard. You'll see how they all line up once we begin group number 3 here from Freedom 50 qualifying at Indianapolis. And we're halfway through Freedom 50 qualifying. Definitely a very interesting session so far. We saw the fast speed out of Alex Lozano. This is group number 3 right here. Justin Lightning in the number 6, Angel Olvera in the number 13, Fisher G in the 25, and Brad Stover in the 35 with Ashlin Boyd in the 78. Those are the 5 drivers in this session. So, Marty, we saw Lozano put that fast time up without any drafting help. Do you need drafting help to win the pole here? Do you think Rayan Durrani with a 41.667 will start on the front row for tomorrow's Freedom 50?
You know, drafting gives you that just slight advantage at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, especially with how fast these Indy cars are going, both Indy cars and Indy Lights. So I think you do want the draft. It's your best friend right now.
Because like we mentioned at the top of the show, we run this style of group qualifying to discourage cars from drafting one another. And so far, we've only had one drafting group, and that was Rayan Durrani and Elijah Gordon in the first group there. And they're first and third quickest right now, respectively. So the draft definitely plays into effect on how well you run. But either way, going to be interesting here, the third group. Of course, Justin Lightning, I believe he was actually in the Freedom 50 last year. Angel Olvera was in the Indy Car Series last year. Fisher G is an experienced veteran, same with Brad Stover and Ashlin Boyd. This is probably the most experienced group going on the racetrack here for Freedom 50 qualifying. There's Ashlin Boyd in the 78, currently in the Turkey Hill Series this year. Brad Stover in the 35 machine, and Fisher G in the 25, both in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series full-time. Angel Olvera, an owner in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series and Turkey Hill Series. So a lot of these guys have a lot of things and places throughout Napa Fan, and they're going to take a spin here at the Freedom 50.
You know, I don't know if it was just me or not, but Olvera barely made some contact there with, I believe that's Fisher G in the 25. That got a little bit close there. I think it's maybe just cold tires or something, but I'm not sure.
Definitely very interesting to see how this is going to play out, because these two guys are right on each other. And you know, you mentioned that contact, you know, it's going to be close. These guys really get close to each other around this 2.5 mile speedway, and we're going to see it in the Indy 250. We're going to see it tomorrow in the Freedom 50, and you never know how it'll play out. Good run there for the 78. All by himself already, a 41.813 for Ashlin Boyd. But I'd watch out for these guys right here. The number 13, 41.675. Currently second quickest right now for Angel Olvera. Not enough to beat Durrani's time quite yet. Watch out for Fisher G as well in the number 25. He might also have a good chance. Now, Marty, you called last year's Freedom 50. And in last year's race, passing was a little bit difficult until the end of the race when John Arndt came through and stole the show, essentially. Do you think we're going to see a difficult passing race tomorrow? Or do you think we're going to possibly even see maybe a cycle race tomorrow, these guys passing for the lead very frequently?
I think what Fisher G is trying out, he has a feeling that, you know, these drivers are going to be, or yes, that is Fisher G, are going to be in a cycle race, and I think he just went to the top, if I'm correct, thanks to the draft.
41.525, fastest time so far here in Freedom 50 qualifying, and Olvera goes to second. He improved his time to a 41.607. And these guys have used the draft to their advantage, but Ashlin Boyd's been very fast all by himself here. 41.746 now. I do believe that the guys who have single car speed are generally going to be better tomorrow than the guys who can run well in the draft. Number 35 here, Brad Stover, currently slowest in this session at a 42.183. That's currently the slowest time that we have had so far here in Freedom 50 qualifying. But 41.525 there out of Fisher G. One of the fastest times we have seen out of these Indy Lights machines in quite some time. And looking pretty good for Fisher G, who won his first ever Chick-fil-A Cup Series race a few weeks ago. So we'll have to see how it all goes down for him. But a great run here in Freedom 50 qualifying for the veteran driver.
Now watch Angel Olvera closely here. He's got the low line working, but he didn't have, though, that much draft in 1 and 2. Made this slingshot earlier than what G did. I think Angel's time will improve just a little bit, but definitely won't be as much faster as Fisher G is.
We're going to have to see what he clocks in at the line. 41.591. You called it, Marty. Improved his time, but it's not going to be enough to beat Fisher G's fast time of a 41.525. I believe Fisher's going to be the fastest driver in this session, and he might even start on the pole with that time. That was one of the quickest times we have seen yet here in Freedom 50 qualifying. Of course, with these guys drafting each other, that makes it ineffective for the rest of these guys. There's Justin Lightning in the number 6, who is one of the few guys who has been in this race before. As a matter of fact, I think this race last year was his first career Napa Fan start. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how he does here in the 4th position, currently with a 41.874. And we'll have to see just how Justin Lightning can do there for that team. But Fisher G improved his time again, 41.505. I think Fisher G has a fast car. He might have one of the fastest cars, and he might be one of the strongest guys in the Freedom 50 tomorrow. Going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But we're definitely looking forward to see how Fisher G does here at qualifying and, of course, in the Freedom 50 tomorrow. Lightning coming down. He's done with 41.874. Time's going to run out right there, and Fisher G is going to go to the top of the board here in Freedom 50 qualifying. 41.505, Angel Olvera 41.591, Ashlin Boyd 41.722, Justin Lightning 41.874, and Brad Stover currently slowest overall here, the 42.154. Let's get to the final group here in Freedom 50 qualifying and get you the lineup for the Freedom 50 in 2020 here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Here we go for Group 4, Freedom 50 qualifying. Final group of the day. Thank you so much for joining us here on Carb Day from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's definitely been a great week for Indy 250 weekend. We're going to end it all off with the Freedom 50 tomorrow at noon Eastern Time, and then Sunday at noon Eastern Time, the Indianapolis 250. Drivers in this final session, Brandon Nelson in the 15, who will be in tomorrow's Indianapolis 250 as an Indy 250 only driver, the 21 of Keegan Thompson, the 34 of Richard Kinghart, the 67 of Ousmaine Hamid, and the 68 of Landon Smith Jr. is the first driver to come out here in Group number 4. Mari, do you think anybody's going to beat Fisher G's time of 41.505?
Once again, I think it's going to come down to the draft, and Fisher G mastered the draft perfectly in the previous session, so we'll just have to see what happens.
So Fisher G, 41.505, Angel Olvera, 41.591, and then Rayan Durrani, 41.667. Ashlin Boyd was faster than Alex Lozano on single-car runs of 41.722, so those guys are pretty fast. Watch out for him in tomorrow's race. 67 coming out here. Ousmaine Hamid going to be his first ever start on Napa Fan, driving number 67. And then you got the number 15 of Brandon Nelson. It'll also be his first ever Napa Fan start in the Freedom 50. But of course, he's also going to be in the Indy 250 as well as an Indy 250 only driver. The same goes, like I mentioned, for Rayan Durrani and Zack Winkle. Those three drivers doing double duty at Indianapolis. Of course, we'll also have the double. Got some guys racing tonight in the Coke 600 and the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Who will also be racing in the Indianapolis 250. And a couple guys here in this race who will also be in that event. Keegan Thompson, one of those guys who will be racing tonight over at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And wow, I just realized that no one in the Indy Light Series is actually going to be in my New Era Cup Series race Saturday night in the Coke 600, because we got a lot of new part-timers that are joining in. But anyway, we got the draft forming, and it's going to be a 3-car draft here if Keegan Thompson can get up to speed, but it doesn't look like. But the car ahead of him, whoever that is.
That's Brandon Nelson, who got into the Indy 250 by 1/1000th of a second last Sunday, drafting off the 67.
He could be in the catbird seat right here in the draft. Not just this lap, but watch next lap here.
This lap's going to be fast at the line. 30.352. Wow. 41.352. He had actually pulled up on Ousmaine Hamid there and surpassed him. And to the top of the board goes Brandon Nelson here in Freedom 50 qualifying.
And he's got the draft, but don't count out the man he was just drafting earlier, Ousmaine Hamid. I think that's how you pronounce his name. If not, Ousmane, please correct me in the chat so I know in the future.
67 now, 41.693. A good time for him, but Brandon Nelson, it looks like he's going to win the pole here for the Freedom 50. He just obliterated Fisher G's time there, and the big reason is the first time we really saw it all session where someone actually pulled up to the back of a car, and that's when you really pick up your speed. Everyone in this session really fast, including the 34 here of Richard Kinghart. And Kinghart was in the IndyCar Series last year, actually won a few races, was in the championship hunt. Fortunately missed the Haas IndyCar Series this year, but he'll be in this event. And it's so far the only race that he's going to be in this year on Napa Fan. Of course, he's an owner in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, owns Bradley Ream and John Arndt's team. 41.804 right now. Odds are he's going to start inside the top 10 for tomorrow's Freedom 50, the way things are looking, I do believe. Number 68 here is currently the slowest in this session. That is Landon Smith Jr. to 41.834, but I don't think anyone's going to get to Brandon Nelson at the end of this one. 3.52 for Nelson. Looks like he'll be winning the pole for the Freedom 50. The exact opposite of what's going to be in store for him on Sunday, starting in the last position for the Indy 250.
Yeah, Nelson has been really key in the draft throughout the entire Freedom 50 sessions that these drivers have had to endure this week. But he may have a chance to up his best lap, but we'll have to see here.
I don't know if that'll be the case here. He really put down a fast lap that last time. I don't think... Oh, he did! He did! He beat it! 41.325 now! Switch the numbers!
Look at that!
How about that? Watch out for Brandon Nelson tomorrow. He's got a strong race car, and he could be the driver to beat in tomorrow's Freedom 50 in his first career Napa Fan start. Now, I will like to put a disclaimer out. At the time of recording the Freedom 50 qualifying session and the Freedom 50 tomorrow, I've already recorded the Indianapolis 250, so if Nelson wins tomorrow, I don't mention it in the Indianapolis 250 on Sunday, just because that's how everything worked out. Then the same goes for Rayan Durrani or Zack Winkle. But I don't think they're going to care too much. They're all going to be running well tomorrow. Brandon Nelson going to be starting on the pole position. Ousmaine Hamid there will be, I believe, in the third position. He beat Angel Olvera out, so a good starting position for his first career Napa Fan start. And then Keegan Thompson also with a solid effort there. I believe he's going to be 9th. And then Kinghart is going to be 10th. So we'll update the leaderboard for you, giving the starting lineup for the Freedom 50. And then set you up for tomorrow's 20-lap event here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And there is the official starting lineup for the Freedom 50 tomorrow at noon Eastern Time right here on Napa Fan. We're going to have Marty, Harold Alonso, and Justin Zayadell call the race for you guys. Going to be a fun one here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as the prelude to the Indy 250. And it will be Brandon Nelson leading us to the green flag for the first race of the weekend, which isn't true because tonight we got the Coke 600 in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. We're definitely looking forward to that race, longest race of the season for those guys. And we're definitely looking forward to seeing what happens at tomorrow's Freedom 50 as well, with a lot of rookies and some veterans making up the field. It's going to be a fun race for 20 laps here at the Brickyard. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Brandon Nelson for winning the pole for the Freedom 50. And we'll see you guys tonight for the Coke 600 in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, and tomorrow for the Freedom 50 at noon Eastern Time. I will see you guys later.